Baseball? You play ball like a girl!
I like the rest.
Got an ugly girlfriend. Ugly girlfriend means no confidence.
You guys are talking the same old nonsense like we're looking for Fabio. Got to think differently.
Get about the third ball, Ricky. Charlie, here comes the deuce. And when you speak of me, speak well.
Fantasy never sleeps.
Oh, yeah. Welcome back to another episode of Fantasy Never Sleeps, the fantasy baseball podcast that does not condone Nationals fans trying to run over Matt Williams, but it's hard to blame them with the calls he makes. I'm your host, Marshall McElhaney, here with Josh Meredith and Joe Grabinski. As always, you can find our content on Tumblr, Twitter, iTunes, Facebook, and Podbean. What up, gentlemen?
Hello.
Hola.
All right, well, another week. Here we go. Let's start off with some trivia since we skipped that last week, and then we'll dive into some Twitter questions and then hop right into some bullshit or not. You guys down with that?
I'm down with whatever you got for us.
Yes, sir.
All right, well, here's trivia question number 1. What pitcher holds the career record for losses? And I will give you a hint. He is a Hall of Famer.
Cy Young.
Yes.
I'm
Right
glad
on.
I didn't have to guess because I would.
There's another question where it was going to be, what pitcher has the most career wins but hasn't won a Cy Young? And it is Cy Young.
Cy Young. Yeah.
Nice.
All right, well, since Josh got that one so fast, let's do another one here real fast. Barry Bonds holds the career record for intentional walks with 688 in his career. Hank Aaron is number 2 on that list. How many intentional walks does Hank Aaron have?
That is incredible.
No, that's ridiculous.
600. How many did you just say?
688 in his career. And once you guess the number, I have actual factoid for you that's going to blow your mind.
I'm sure that's like breaks it down to like probably 40 a season. It sounds like, which is just one every 4 games, which is ridiculous.
Wait till you hear the fact.
Crap.
Let me give you this fact while you guys are thinking of how many Hank Aaron has. In 2004, Bonds walked, not intentional walk, but walked 232 times. Of those 232, 120 of them were intentional walks. It gets better. The AL leader in walks that season had 95.
He had 25 more walks, intentional walks than anybody else had walks.
Yes.
I remember that was the season after he it broke the record or whatever, and walking him every game. But,
They literally, I do remember him walking a ton, but to that magnitude is disgusting.
232. And he walked 120 times.
Sorry, with Hank Aaron, I'd probably guess 400.
I would have guessed 300.
Well, let me put it this way. Bonds had 688. Hank Aaron was about 400 short of that. 293.
293.
Awfully close, Josh.
Holy crap, though. That is incredible.
Talk about a factoid. Starting the show off just with a slammer.
So Bonds' ass better be in the Hall of Fame. I don't care what.
But he took steroids. Just like every other fucking player that's played.
Yeah, the best part is he couldn't hit for 240 of those at bats. They just put him on base.
That's it. That's an insane statistic.
It is interesting to think about how many home runs he may have hit if he didn't walk so often.
Yeah, dude. I mean,
honestly,
mind-boggling.
If they pitch to him in those other 200 and some odd at bats, he hits another 30 to 40 home runs. Jeez.
All right. Well, I got one more for you guys, and then we'll jump into everyone's favorite Twitter questions. Who's the only catcher to win 3 batting titles?
I'm gonna have to guess Piazza or Ivan Rodriguez.
What do you got, Josh?
Technical
Here we
difficulties.
go again. All right.
I'm here.
Do you got a guess?
I didn't hear the question.
Who's the only catcher to win 3 batting titles?
Johnny Bench.
Joe Mauer.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's good.
But those were all three great guesses. I can't harp you guys on those. Those are good.
What were the other ones? I obviously was cut out for a little bit.
I guessed Piazza and Pudge. So
Which I'm surprised. Well, yeah. Those are. I would have guessed Johnny Bench too. That was my first one that came to mind when I read it. But
well, let's hope Josh doesn't have any more technical difficulties. It looks like he might be right now.
Oh, I'm here. This computer, I'm just gonna have to start using my personal computer because my work computer is a piece of shit. But if it happens again, just send me another request and I'll get it right away. I'll get right back on, so it won't be a problem. I'll just get off of this if it happens again.
Yeah, no masturbating this time like you did last week.
Yeah.
all right. Well, let's jump into some Twitter questions. The first one comes from.
No, before you say that though, look at for you YouTube watchers out there. Look at the only one that doesn't have their screen up. Yeah. So if you do hear anything out there, we got Joe over there beating off. So
Well, has Cliff Lee finished the start yet? Because if he was still pitching, I would be skeptical.
Oh yeah.
Or if Upton hits out, we're done. We better mute him.
Sure, I'm gonna go check the box scores. All right, go ahead, guys.
All right. Well, the first Twitter question comes from Anthony Hernsberger, and he says, "Hey, Roto-Rankers, I've been offered Waka and Gorko for Jason Worth and Colton Wong. This is an NL-only keepers league. I'm gonna throw this one to you, Joe. What do you think?"
And just for all our followers who are falling out of their chairs, it's Jerko. But I would absolutely say the Michael Waka and Jed Jerko side. It's an absolute no-brainer if I understood the question correctly, right, Marshall?
Yes.
You as a Cardinal fan, tell us what you think of Michael Waka in a keeper league.
I've been trying to get him all season long. He's a stud. I mean, he's one of the best young pitchers in the game. He's only going to get better. He's developed a curveball. If you can get Michael Waka, go for it.
Even in a redraft league, I'd almost take Waka, although Worth is playing out of his mind and is a complete stud. But when I looked deeper into this guy's lineup, Jerko would be a keeper for him, as would be Waka, since it's NL only. And you just have to take that. We told him an absolute no-brainer. And I just saw that Cliff Lee gave up 6 runs in the game, so I'm done. I'm done.
You finished?
Yeah.
It wasn't a happy ending.
It was a premature ejaculation there.
But E5 hit a triple and a home run for me, so at least that helps out a little bit. But we'll go on to the next question.
And I'm watching the Braves Cardinals. Upton's hitting the snot out of.
Well, good. I feel a little bit better now.
Two doubles, but I don't know if he has a run or an RBI.
Good enough.
All right, next question from a fan favorite of ours, Ben Skirring. Roto-Rankers, when do the Cubs give up on the Edwin Jackson experiment and call up Wada or start Justin Grimm? Josh, I'm going to throw this one to you, since this is our old college roommate.
Yeah, hola, Benny. I don't see the Cubs taking Edwin Jackson's starting spot away anytime soon. I think it's going to take a lot for that to happen. They're pretty committed to him. Wada is actually pitching pretty good. He gave up, I think, 3 runs yesterday. He's got an ERA that's just over 1 at AAA, but he's older. He's not a true prospect. Grimm, they're using out of the bullpen. He's not stretched. He's with the major league club working in relief. He's not stretched out. I mean, Wada's going to be the first guy that gets a chance at the rotation should there be an injury or somebody that really scuffles. But I don't foresee any reason that the Cubs go away from Edwin Jackson for anything other than an injury. I would note that his peripherals are all good. Everything suggests that he should be getting better results than what he is. So, I mean, I wouldn't think that that's going to happen.
Yeah, and as a side note, at the end of Benny's tweet, he put Wada's old but twirling. So I think he kind of expects the same thing. But
Wada is a twirler.
Enough about those scrubs.
Yeah. Well, let's see here. Let's answer one more Twitter question, and then we'll jump into some bullshit or not. This one comes from Jeff Martin. Roto-Rankers. I'm in a Roto 5x5 standard. Would you drop Billy Butler to get Jay Bruce off waivers? First of all, why is Jay Bruce on waivers?
Josh and I have seen circumstances where you have leagues where you have no bench spots, 2 DL spots, and you have five big injury. It can happen. So.
Well, I hope this league has like 4 teams.
It is a good point, but
yeah, he shouldn't be dropped. But we told him to absolutely do it. He even further he already had Trumbo in a DL spot and another good player.
Harper. Trumbo and Harper.
So I said drop Trumbo and Billy Butler for Jay Bruce because Billy Butler is a piece of shit right now, hitting ground balls to the shortstop every at bat, and Trumbo has that stress fracture and was batting 200. So if you can turn those 2 guys, I mean, if you could trade those 2 guys, it would be no different. So
right.
you might as well drop them.
Right.
Well, yeah, and it says the rest of the outfield is Puig, McCutchen, Cespedes, Alex Gordon, Billy Hamilton, and Melky Cabrera. I mean, that's a pretty stacked outfield lineup.
This must be a 4-team league.
But that's a good point, Joe. I mean, if you look at it, if and I'm a Jay Bruce owner, if a guy offered me Trumbo and Billy Butler, I would just laugh and decline. So if I were on the other side, if you could trade those 2 guys for Jay Bruce, it's a no-brainer. So I'm on board.
Yeah, that's whoever gets him off waivers, he'll be as happy as Joe was earlier before Cliff Lee gave up 6 runs.
And I know we don't need to bore everyone with our expert leagues or anything, but Joe was kind of hinting at it a little bit. But we had that kind of scenario where we already have Harper and Zimmerman, Ryan Zimmerman on the DL, and then Kipnis goes down for us, who was our 3rd-round draft pick, oddly enough. But so we only have 2 DL spots, no bench. So we were actually forced to drop Ryan Zimmerman to waivers. We're talking about a top 70 or probably top 75 player, and we had to drop him to waivers to pick up next to nothing just to get a warm body in our middle infield spot. So it certainly can happen. And then we see Coco Crisp running into a wall today. So it just adds to it. Billy Hamilton still has his knuckles are hurt, which is funny. So we're feeling the pain there in our Ganos 30 for 30 expert league.
All right. Well, you guys ready to hop into bullshit or not?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, stand by and let's play this drop.
No.
All right. Well, lead off tonight, we have Mr. Timmy Hudson. So far this season, 6 quality starts, a 5.96 K per 9, a 1.99 ERA, and a .74 WHIP. It's Timmy Hudson's bullshit. Start bullshit or not? Joe, let's start with you, since this is your newly acquired player in our league.
Yeah, I would say not bullshit. And I'm just going to put the caveat for the entire show that whenever we say not bullshit, it doesn't mean the guy's going to maintain their astronomical pace. We may have some first-time listeners, but it means we think the player is a legitimate player. So I would say Tim Hudson's start is not bullshit. He's a career 3.4 ERA, 1.22 WHIP guy. He's in a new, nice ballpark for hitters. The weather there, or I guess the coastal weather, suppresses power pretty well. He's going to be a low K guy, but I'm perfectly comfortable with Tim Hudson as a 4th or 5th starter on a team. I actually just took him as a throw-in a trade, thinking I might potentially drop him since we're in a shallow league. But I'm starting to think he's somebody I want to keep this season. I feel very comfortable with him.
I could echo exactly what you just said, Joe. So I'm not going to add much to it. My show notes, I've got down 3.42 career ERA, 1.22 WHIP. Just needs to stay healthy. He's in a good park, good defense. I think he's pretty legit. And what's also funny is I also was going to note that yes, when we say that they're not bullshit, we don't necessarily think he's going to have a sub-2 ERA, sub-1 WHIP rest of season. But the fact that he will be a fantasy starter for you for the rest of the season is all that we're really hitting on. And we're talking even in your 12, 15, 16 to 18 team leagues as well. I mean, all the way up. We're talking most of those leagues, and so I'm not going to add much to it. I'm on board.
Hey, quick question, Marshall. Did you shorten that bullshit drop, or was I just not paying attention?
You probably just couldn't hear it.
Okay, good, because I love it. I didn't want it to be short.
No, dude, it's not shortened. Trust me.
Okay, good.
You can hear the full thing when you listen to it on iTunes.
Okay.
Yeah, you could. I had my volume up a little higher, and I could hear it.
Because that would be bullshit if you shortened it.
All right. Well, I don't got anything else to add on Tim Hudson either. You said it best, Joe. He plays in a ginormous ballpark. So unless you're Barry Bonds, there's not going to be a lot of home runs hit there. He's going to have a good ERA. All right. Well, let's move on to who we kind of previewed a little bit earlier. Jason Hamill. 6 quality starts, a 7.08 K per 9, a 2.43 ERA, and a 0.81 WHIP. Bullshit or not, Josh Meredith, resident Cub fan, what do you think?
As we just stated, we're not talking that calling them not bullshit would insinuate that they're going to keep their current pace. So I'm gonna consider him not bullshit. I think that he has real value all year. I wouldn't necessarily be all over him in a 10-team league, a mixed league. Obviously, he's already owned in your NL only leagues, but let me list the teams that he's played for in the past: Tampa Bay, AL East; Colorado, playing in Coors; Baltimore, AL East. Those are the 3 teams he's played for. He's actually had respectable numbers in those years as well. But now that he's in the NL, playing for the Cubs, he's shown the flashes in the past. I think he could easily maintain a mid to a 3.5 to maybe 3 3/4 ERA and a decent WHIP. So I don't think he's a whole lot of bullshit. But you're gonna get regression though.
I'm going to say big-time bullshit, only because we know Josh is worried that opposing clubs are going to be listening, and he knows the Cubs are going to trade Jason Hamill at the trade deadline for 3 turd prospects like they did last year. So I just want to call bullshit because I know Josh is just looking out for his Cubs here. So
that will happen. Same with Scott Feldman, all those things. But these turd prospects you speak of are nowhere to be seen. They're only gold coming back.
Well, Tywin Lannister, huh?
That's a Game of Thrones reference, Josh.
First one on the podcast. Been waiting to drop one.
Okay, if I can drop WWE references, you can drop Game of Thrones.
Exactly.
I guess I'll just stick to baseball. I don't have any of that for you guys.
But can I go not-ish like you did last week, Josh? Because that's how I feel right now.
You can do whatever you want. This is your opinion. I can go not-ish.
Well,
I
gave you shit for going not-ish last week, but I feel like going not-ish right now because 2 years ago, in 2012, he pitched really well when he was healthy. And the similar numbers to what he's putting up right now, if he pitches that way and stays healthy, he's a decent person to have at the back end of your rotation and your fantasy team. But
every other year he had a high 4 ERA. He may be a real life pitcher, but there ain't no way I'm touching this turd in a 10-team league, a 12-team league. I mean, yeah, in real life he's cute, but he's not fantasy relevant whatsoever except for a spot start.
If he has 8.62 K per 9, I think he is fantasy relevant if his ERA's in the mid-3s, and that's what he did in 2012.
But 1 year of his career, and he's a veteran.
Yeah, but look at those teams. Like I said, look at those teams he's played for. He hasn't. The only time he's pitched in the NL was when he pitched in Coors Field.
All right, this will answer the question. Is he owned in our 10-team league? He's not owned in our 10-team league. Is he owned in our 12-team league? I'm guessing he's not.
Well, he was
and
on.
this
He was on in our 10-team league in 2012 because I had him and I won. So
Okay.
he can be fantasy relevant, but I
Okay.
get what I don't disagree with you. I get what you're saying, and there's a lot of truth to that.
I would take him on the Diamondbacks in real life. I'm not dogging the guy. I think we've probably touched on Jason Hamill enough. Sorry.
He's not he's not going to be an ace of any team, but we'll move past him.
Sweet. Well, let's. Oh boy, I'm gonna get some crap for this one as well. Next guy on the list, Adrian Gonzalez. 22 runs, 9 homers, 25 RBIs, 1 stolen base, and a 3.64 OBP. Or sorry, .364 OBP.
Not bullshit. As long as I'm not going out of turn here, I know I like to jump in. Not bullshit. It's Adrian Gonzalez. He's not going to hit 42 home runs, but he's not bullshit anyway. So I don't even really know what to say on the guy, but he's performing right now. He's in a disgusting lineup. Keep him, trade for him if you can. Not bullshit.
Well, he's no Chase Headley. Can I say that? And
Yeah.
now I'm gonna let Josh gloat for the next 5 minutes. So
No, we've been down that road.
Yes, we have.
You know you're wrong. You both know you're wrong. The
But to be fair, you were the Adrian Gonzalez owner trying to trade for Chase Headley, so you weren't exactly an objective.
You're
I think
right.
It's almost worse to be the guy trying to trade for him.
No, I was trying to get more than him, but to be fair, the argument it was stemming from a bigger deal that I was trying to get another player, and I was trying to use the Adrian Gonzalez over Headley as the other part of it, and that's what spurned his insides to just start boiling because I thought that Adrian Gonzalez was better than him. So
they went 0 to 60 really fast.
it wasn't the Headley was not the main. It was actually in the Kimbrel and Jofer negotiations and things like that. But I actually I'm gonna go with my patented play both sides of the fence here a little bit.
You're going non-ish.
Nope. I'm gonna call BS on the power.
Okay.
I'm gonna go not on everything else. And Joe, you basically just said it. He's not going to hit his 40 home runs that we've seen in the past. But everything about Adrian Gonzalez is real otherwise, and I expect him to hit plenty of home runs. He may get back over the 30 home run plateau this year. I really like him. Buy him if you can, but a great lineup, great OBP, looks healthy again from the shoulder standpoint, so I think that the power is certainly, obviously, coming back a little bit. So I really like him, and I don't consider much of anything he's doing other than maybe a little bit of the power to be bullshit. Otherwise, no, definitely not. It's real.
And 2 quick facts. He's only hit more than 30 home runs twice in his career, actually 31 one year. But he had a 36 home run year and a 40 home run year, but everything else was 30, 24, 31, 27. So it's really unrealistic to think there's any reason he's going to do that now. And also, I want to wish him an early happy birthday as he turns 32 years old tomorrow. So
Hey, happy birthday, Aegon!
yeah, and that ties
He
into my.
listens, so give your shout outs now.
He's not magically going to have a power resurgence at age 32. So.
Josh, did you just wish a Dodger, or Joe wish a Dodger a happy birthday?
He did.
How are you sick? How ill are you?
Well, Marshall, let's give him a break. The Dodgers or the Diamondbacks aren't exactly, playing well.
I think they've won 4 of their last 5 games, but I have to be objective on this podcast, and I really like birthday celebrations, so I like to party.
Oh, fair enough. But I'm glad you brought up those power numbers, Joe, and that you said that, Josh, because I think everything else is real. But yeah, there's no reason he's going to hit 30 home runs.
And I don't think he continues as a number, or a top 3 or 4 first baseman either. But we've kind of touched on it already. He's legit otherwise.
Awesome. Well, let's jump back into some Twitter questions. Our next one is from, I'm going to butcher this, Andrew Ariema. If I said your name wrong, I apologize. His question is,
Anybody, whether you're a player or you're a Twitter, one of our Twitter followers, just know that Marshall is known for butchering names.
Well,
often.
I thought he was listing a player's name right there, and I was like, Jesus Christ, Marshall, what player are you trying to say now? Like,
Marshall has a little bit of pronunciation problems
I thought he was
with
trying to
players.
say I thought he was trying to say Aramis Ramirez. I just didn't know what
I thought he was.
People have a lead foot. I have a lead tongue. So
I thought he was trying to say Jay Bruce.
Sorry.
Oh,
That's so let's throw that out there. We went
take it.
what 16 episodes and we haven't even thrown that out to people that just to know that Marshall
they haven't-
may or may not mess up a name once in a while.
if they haven't caught on yet, then it's like bright and lightning for them on episode 16.
Yeah, but you and Eno both, because I'm pretty sure Eno gets crap for that all the time. He pronounces names so wrong a lot of
Well, then-
times.
I mean,
What's
yeah, so
happening-
you're in good company, Mark.
Yeah, I was gonna say they should put me on. I should get paid for this or be on TV because then I would fit right in.
Yeah.
Hey, if you could put me in any company with Eno, I would take it. So maybe I have bad hair, who knows? But let's move on.
All right. Well, Andrew's question: I was offered Beltray and Jared Weaver in exchange for Posey and Samardzija. I'm looking for a corner infielder, but I currently have Posey there. I don't know. I'm gonna throw this one to you, Joe. What do you think?
I'm really confused because I asked him a follow-up question and he was starting. I believe was it Derek Norris at catcher?
Yes.
And I don't know how that happened, but Posey's playing well enough that his numbers are certainly playing at third base digits this year. He'd probably be a top 5 third baseman. I know he doesn't have third base eligibility, but if you're playing him in your corner, you're comparing him to those guys. But I said, heck no, don't do the deal. I wasn't thinking at the time. I'm used to thinking in terms of quality starts since that's what our league is, but I'm assuming the listener's in a wins league. But
Yeah.
even then, I mean, Beltray is falling apart. He's not having a great season. I just said, heck no. Keep Samardzija and Posey and play Posey at whatever position you want.
And yeah, obviously, there's no other way to do it. But I'll just note, if you're trading for wins, you're doing it wrong. If that's exactly what you're targeting as wins, because you just have to get the better pitcher, and because it's just too difficult. Guy can give up 15 runs and still win the game. Guy can throw a shutout and lose the game, or get a no decision. So I mean, you can't play for that. So Samardzija's numbers are there. It's tough to, not go after him just because he doesn't have a win to this point.
No, yeah, that's an irrelevant factor.
But you, like you said, Joe. I mean, it's weird how Derek Norris is at catcher. I can't believe that there's not a better corner infielder out there, whether it be on waivers. And Derek Norris is having a good year, but get Posey into your catcher spot
and pick up anybody
and get anybody better than Derek Norris. And if you are, maybe an A's fan and you love Derek Norris, which whatever, and you want to trade Posey, go get a freaking stud. Go get a top 25 player, because that's basically what you have in Posey as a catcher. So yeah.
Yeah, go trade Buster Posey for friggin' Robinson Cano or something right now if you can.
Yeah, I got turned down in our league for that once though.
Just an example.
All right. Well, let's jump in back to bullshit or not. Next guy on the list, John Neese. 5 quality starts, a 6.81 K per 9, 1.82 ERA, and a 1.01 WHIP. Bullshit or not? We'll start with you, Josh.
Bullshit. He's actually been good for a couple of years, and I think that he could give you serviceable numbers across the board, but he doesn't strike out very many guys, and doesn't have, he doesn't throw very hard. He sits around 80, 89, 90, and he's got pretty good command. And so he's, in your very deep leagues, obviously, but in those leagues he's taken, in your shallower leagues, He's not. It's tough because it's kind of the same scenario as Jason Hamill, though, where I think that he could give you some decent numbers for the year, but don't expect anything close to what he's doing. So it's tough. I think he's probably, let's put it this way, I think he's owned in the leagues he should be. We'll call it that.
I'm going to say not bullshit. I certainly like him more than Jason Hamill. He was a sleeper coming into 2012, 2013. He was injured a good portion of last year. In 2012, he had a 3.4 ERA, 1.17 WHIP, 155 Ks, which he's on pace to do, obviously much better than that this year. But I'd say a sixth pitcher, if you're a team struggling, in 10-team leagues, some teams have ridiculous pitching depth, and there's some guys with some shitbags in their rotation. I would, in a 10-team league, I'd have him as your fifth or sixth pitcher. And in a 12-team league, your fourth pitcher. I actually think he has sneaky value. These are the type of guys who get overlooked, in my opinion, because if he had 30 more Ks, he would be Homer Bailey last year. So, and Homer Bailey's not performing this year, and there's a lot of injuries. So I think you can sneak a guy like this in to the back end of your rotation. I am actually a believer myself.
Because you mentioned this earlier, I figured I'd check it. Jason Hamill is owned in our 12-team league, not in our 10-team league.
Oh, shut up.
No, he is. And Jonathan Neese is not owned in either. So
I two-started Jonathan Neese this week, and he fucking pitched a shutout. So.
And I started him last week, so I'm on page. If I can get him, I tried to get the two-start, but the postponed game gave you the two-start because you grabbed him once I dropped him. But if we want to go off that, Jason Hamill wins. He's owned in the 12-team, and Jonathan Neese isn't owned in either. So,
well, I would happily own Jonathan Neese if my eighth best pitcher wasn't Matt Cain right now. I would happily own Neese. So it just so happens that I'm too stacked in our 10-team, or he'd be owned.
Listen to this humble brag right now.
Yes,
Humble
very humble.
Humble brag, sitting looking up at my ass.
Yes.
For now.
That was the best silence I've heard on this show.
I had nothing there.
All right, well, let's move on to the next guy. Alfredo Simon, 6 quality starts, a 4.87 K per 9, a 1.99 ERA, and a 0.96 WHIP. Bullshit or not? Josh.
Bullshit. Why the hell are we talking about this retard?
Because he has a .96 WHIP, he's thrown 6 quality starts, and he has a 1.99 ERA.
He's also 39 and has 25 career starts, so I don't know why we're talking about him, but
it is interesting what he's done. He's been incredible, but he has not started. Since what I can pull it back up again, but hasn't started for several years, and so he's very intriguing because he's been a very good reliever out of the bullpen the last few years. So that part's kind of intriguing, but the Ks, I mean, you said it, with the amount of Ks that he gives you, which is next to none, it's just not very sexy in any format.
Do you own him, Marshall, before I piss all over him? I don't have anything more to say.
Well, I might go pick him up now, but...
Oh, okay. I was starting to feel bad. I was bad. I was like,
my team's not that bad.
He's already owned. He's owned. You can't pick him up.
Marshall's wearing an Alfredo Simon jersey, and here I am.
He's 30. For the record, though, Joe.
I know, he's 32. I know.
32, and
he is the 17th best pitcher according to Player Rater, just so you know.
Yeah, he has been lights out, but...
We've seen how this story ends with Jesse Chavez, though. I mean, Simon pitches in a horrible park, and his K rate's horrible.
Hey, by the way, Chavez got right back on track after we talked him last podcast, so we don't know how that story
Didn't he just get his ass rocked like 2 days ago?
Last night he got hit a little bit, but then
he got hit again, but he
was lights out.
Yeah, he still got back on track again, though. He's still a decent has been pretty good. I mean,
Oh, I guess I thought his last start was worse than it is, but whatever. I can't believe we're talking about like Alfredo Simon when John Neese isn't owned. Apparently, I mean Neese is just way infinitely.
but this podcast isn't for our league.
No, I'm saying for lots of leagues.
Oh.
I mean, I just think Neese is much more interesting, but it's not an either-or question, so I get it.
Yeah.
We just turned into one, but we obviously know where you stand.
Yes.
All right, well, let's get into our last guy for bullshit or not, and then we'll go back to some Twitter questions. Last guy. I'm worried I'm going to pronounce this name wrong. Raji Davis. Did I say it right?
Rajai.
Well, close enough.
We can call him Reggie Davis if you want.
I didn't say Reggie, but I'm going to call him that from now on.
Yeah, he's now Reggie White.
All right, 17 runs, 2 homers, 10 RBIs, 11 stolen bases, and a .389 OBP. Bullshit or not? Josh.
Not. He's not. He's always been a stolen base stud. He's now getting everyday at-bats due to injuries, and it's a good lineup. He's going to stop hitting. I mean, he's obviously hitting much better than he has for his career, but he'll continue to with getting full-time at-bats. It's just absolute gravy. But even if everyone gets healthy and he loses some playing time, he's still going to have plenty of stolen bases for you. So ride it out while you can. If he's out there in any leagues, and we've have had some questions on him in the past, and we've been quick to tell people, hey, pick him up because, I mean, there's what's not to like.
Yeah, I mean, only not bullshit because he has a full-time job. Power, OBP won't really be there, but I'd happily own him in really any size league, 10-team or larger. Nothing more to say.
Yeah, he's the guy I actually targeted in our draft, and I wish I would have pulled the trigger on him, but what do you know?
Got scared.
Happens.
You got really shy and just couldn't say his name when you were turning.
Dude, I got Rajesh.
No, he tried, but he ended up drafting Reggie White, and it didn't go well. Which explains why Marshall's down there at the bottom right now, because he's sitting there with Reggie White in his outfield.
I am not at the bottom. I'm near the bottom.
Yeah. You're 8th. But,
slow climb, brother. Slow climb. Just wait.
Do you have your Reggie White jersey on?
I do not, but I can get one on when we drop our fantasy football podcast.
There you go.
All right. Well, that's it for bullshit or not, guys. We got one more Twitter question and then a little preview for next week, and then we're out of here. So, last Twitter question from Terrence Peters this is another good Twitter handle, though, Dark Knight NYK. Roto Rankers. I saw Matt Cain on waivers, and I dropped Staley. Was that a good move?
He messed up because it should be Straley. I'm guessing Dan Straley is the only guy I can think of. But
Deuce Staley.
Yeah. Marshall dropped Deuce Staley for Kane in The Undertaker. Yes, please. Does that work for the answer?
I think that's good enough.
Good choice.
Similar to Jay Bruce, if Matt Cain's on waivers, pick his ass up.
Yeah.
Especially since with Jay Bruce, he's out for 3 more weeks, but at least with
Cain's pitching on Saturday.
He's coming back this week, so there's no reason not to grab him if he's out there. He's had a tough season, and we were maybe a little higher on him than we should be, but I still really like him, and he's certainly ownable in every format. So unless that four-team league that we discussed earlier, he may not be ownable in that.
And I was starting to think he's even ownable in a 4-team league because you got 24 pitchers.
Okay, yeah, he's probably still a top 24.
So unless you're in a 2-team league, go get Matt Cain off waivers, guys.
Fair enough. I like that answer. All right, well, that's all the Twitter questions we got, and we're done with bullshit or not. But we do have, for our listeners, our first guest next week.
We got a big-time guest coming in, huh?
Yeah, we're making that jump from AA to at least sniffing the big leagues for a second here next week. Josh, you want to kind of go into that since you've been in contact with him the most?
Yeah, I'm proud to announce that next week we've got a special guest coming on, Chris Cotillo of MLB Daily Dish, SB Nation site, is going to be joining us for some time. He's agreed to lend us a few minutes of his precious time. As we all know, a little bit of Chris's story, and we're going to be we're very pleased to have the opportunity to kind of share that with you all and kind of get some of that directly here with Fantasy Never Sleeps. So we're excited, and we'll be sure to keep you updated on when that's coming out and things like that. But Chris Cotillo, MLB Insider, will be on next week.
And for our listeners that are too lazy to Google his name, he's the guy that broke the Ricky Nolasco signing and the Doug Fister trade, right?
Yeah, among several others, and that was while he was in high school, and still.
Essentially,
he hasn't even graduated high school yet. So
essentially, he's a Twitter phenom. If you're looking at the reporting ranks.
Yep, we're very pleased to have him on. So it should be a very good show, and so stay tuned for that. We're excited.
Sweet. Well, you guys got any parting words before we bounce out of here?
No more trivia questions?
I ran out, man. Those were the 3 good ones.
Okay, I don't have any.
I have one.
All right, Josh.
How many? And this is for Marshall.
Oh God.
And Joe has to be the answer. How many items has been down Joe's toilet from Eli?
Like, if when we say items,
individual items, and that does not count turds or toilet paper.
If the same item is flushed more than once, is that one item?
That is more than one item. How many?
And for those listeners, I've had a plumber out 3 times from my son putting shit in the toilet. So.
And by shit, he doesn't mean real shit. He means manufactured shit.
Yes. How many?
I'm going 75.
Okay. From the ones I know, it's only been a handful. It's been a full-size Woody stuffed animal, a toy car, and my daughter's put entire rolls of toilet paper down. So I don't know how you'd count squares of toilet paper, but they're probably in the thousands. So at any rate,
This is Fantasy Never Sleeps. We're out of here.